Hey y'all, I just wanted to share my DIY Phlster Enigma in case there are any of you who are maybe unsure whether you would like it or that it is your preferred carry method, or maybe you just don't have it in the budget right now. There is a way that you can figure out to just DIY one for yourself. So I just wanted to show you mine today, so it may spark some ideas for you to also give it a try. So here is my DIY Enigma. Everything except the Kydex holster and the pistol, obviously, I took from other things, or I just made them myself. So to start with, the faceplate here, I do a lot of leather crafting, so I just took a couple pieces of my extra craft leather and I did it too so that it would prevent stretching so quickly, and I just cut it to the size here of what I approximate the Enigma's faceplate would be. And then I have my little, I don't know what they call these here, these little tabs where the strap connects to the faceplate. So I also just took my scrap craft leather and I took two pieces together there as well. So on this one you can see that I actually glued on the edges here just to make sure that it kept it together. I wasn't so worried about that on the faceplate because those are more easily replaceable, but I also sewed around the edges to keep these two together, and then I just punched the line of where my belt would feed through so that I could easily just feed it through on each side and treat it as if it was any other loop, like one of these pass-through loops. So this is the buckle side. So I stole this buckle from another bag that had a 1.5 inch belt on it, which is actually this belt material also. And here is my other triangle attachment piece here. And then you can clearly see that I just hand sewed this together, this piece of belt. I just cut it so that there would be a little bit of space here and it could easily still, move a little bit without bumping into each other, but still held really taut. So the belt itself, this seatbelt nylon material, I actually stole from a bag that came with my metal detector. I also shoot bows, so I lose arrows a lot. And so for Christmas one year, I received a metal detector to find my lost arrows, and there was a bag that came with it to put the headphones in, and I stole this strap from that, and then I just cut it to size on each side here and sewed it together by hand, like on this loop here. That's the ending that came on the bag. I just went ahead and kept it and just cut it so that I didn't have to sew another piece together. And then I took my sewing machine and I sewed it to this DIY belt. So I had actually bought a Bravo belt belly band back when I still didn't realize that Kydex is the only appropriate holster to have. And so I bought this massive belly band and I used it for not very long, maybe a week or two, and it was summertime anyway, and I realized how unsafe and hot those types of belts are. And so I immediately began looking at different methods of carry. and I had figured out the comfort concealment belt was an option, but I also didn't want to spend the 40-50 bucks at the time to purchase a comfort concealment belt and not like it. So I thought that I could just create my own comfort concealment belt. And actually, I'll get it. You can see here the Bravo Belt logo is still on this piece here from where I cut it, because this is the tacky side of the Velcro. And so I just cut basically a straight line through the Bravo belt, and I cut it to 1.5 inches. And then I took some I had a skirt that was made out of the yoga pant material, this polyester stretchy material, and I just cut a long strip off of it, and I made an edge on this so that the edge of the belt wouldn't unravel or get annoying on my skin. And then I kept the elastic part that had the pockets, but I removed the threads that created the pockets on this one because I knew I didn't need pockets on this makeshift comfort concealment belt. And then I just stuck it on this this custom PJ holster that I received as a gift many years ago for my shield. And so this is my quote-unquote comfort concealment system that's also DIY. I guess that could be technically on a separate video, but that's relatively simple. So basically this belt is the other half of that Bravo belt. So this was approximately 3 inches, I would guess. You can see this edge here is the factory finish edge, and then this edge is the one that I just kind of threw together. I mean, I had to hand sew the green thread, and then I used my machine on the pink thread, and that spandex material was kind of a bear. It was my first time trying it, so it's a little messy, but I don't care because I am more of a function over fashion type person. So I left the pockets in this because I know that the Enigma sport belt has the pockets, and so I just went ahead and left these in here. Sometimes I will put my little Gerber blade. It's basically a box knife blade, and it's in this little tiny inch and a half frame. So it'll just slide right in here if I don't have enough pockets to also be carrying a knife. And then I have this end pocket here that doesn't pass through, and I keep my little cloth for my red dot in there so that it's easy to reach. And I made it, this was actually the length I already had cut. I made it, I believe it's 13 inches from edge to edge here, and I'm pretty sure that's the small in the Enigma sport belt. It may be 14 inches, but this was close enough, and this fits me hip to hip perfectly the way this is. So that's my sport belt part. And then the holster itself, so this was just a $30 typical Kydex holster that you can get on Amazon or wherever. It's got a manual retention that you can tighten in the screw here. And I did have to cut when I put this Dove Dot mounting solution red dot in here on my rear sight. I did have to make a cut here to be able to fit the red dot in this holster without having to go purchase another one. So that was relatively easy. You know, I had a soldering iron that I was able to melt with, and then I just kind of filed it off to make it even, and that was really it. And you can tell that this usually has just a regular belt clasp or belt hook on it, and I just took that off because it's not necessary in this type of holster. So that really works pretty well. I put Velcro here so that I could change the cant of the way the pistol sits. Right now I have it more angled, kind of like this, because it goes in to my, it goes into me better this way rather than just being flat like this. The butt tends to stick out more if I have it more flat, so putting it in and then having that wedge pushes it into my stomach. So I can always adjust the cant just with the Velcro, loosen up my retention screw a little bit, and just lift off this, rotate it, and Velcro it back down, and then tighten that back down, and it does great. This wing, this wing actually came with my fabric clip, if you have used one of those before. And I basically just cut off the rectangle portion over here, and I just made it a flat piece that goes right into the screw, so it's down in here as well, underneath, between the leather and the Kydex here. And I just placed it to where it's right here outside the trigger guard, and these don't meet. They have enough space right here, and then this will just push, you know, it'll push my grip in and rotate it in towards me, and it works really well. So I just used a box knife, and I kept running it through this until I could finally just snap it, and it broke, and then I was able to file that down and make it a little smoother, and it works great. And for the leg leash, I don't have one of the fancy clasps like they do, but I did have this little clasp. I have no idea what it came off of. I'm sure it came off of some kind of bag or something that had a piece of paracord on it, and so I always collect those things because they become useful for a lot. And so I just tied it onto this end of the paracord with a knot, and I got one of these off of a bag, one of these little, I don't know what you call these, but these little push things that you can tighten and loosen your tension on your paracord or whatever string you have put that through. And so you basically just tighten it to where you want the length to sit on your leg. And I don't know if I can show it like this, but so you're sitting like this, and I will move this up or down depending on how high I have the holster sitting on my front, and this just curves around your little rubber piece here that keeps your retention, allows you to really squeeze it down if you want to. This is just fed through the holster like that. So it doesn't get in the way of where the pistol sits. It doesn't even touch the trigger guard or anything, and it just sits like this. And you tighten it where you want it, and this stops itself right here. And then the faceplate covers it, so you don't see it, and it doesn't touch you, it doesn't annoy you or anything. So you put, you know, this where you want it, and then you have the rest of your cord here for your leg leash, and I go down through the middle of my leg, bring it around, and then you just fasten it like this, and that's it. And I usually put it where it's right in the, it follows the crease all the way around the back of my leg and comes right up, and it stays right here. So when you're loosening and tightening this under here, it really just increases or decreases this distance. So depending on how high you want your holster to sit, you'll make this longer or shorter. And then that will hold it, and then as you draw, obviously it keeps your holster down, just like the Enigma. So you don't have to have the fancy clip or anything, or a special kind of paracord. I just found this paracord. I have a bunch of random colors, and I chose pink because it's my favorite color. And so that's it. For my wedge is actually a piece of foam that came in the box of my Swamp Fox Sentinel Red Dot. When you lift the lid and you open the box, when I got it, this was on top. So it was just a piece of packaging. And I just stuck Velcro on it, and I already had the Velcro on here because I had a different type. I actually had a piece of wool that I was using previously, and so when I saw this, I just wanted to try it because the wool was a little bit thicker and I didn't need that much. So I stuck this on here and it's really doing a good job. So we'll see how long it lasts. And I have the other half of it for when this does wear out. So that'll last me for a little while. So I guess that's really it. It's not super complicated. It just took time to figure out the shapes of how I wanted it. I've cut many pieces of leather trying to figure out the shape I want and where to put these screws so that my belt is sitting the way I want it to. And that was the most time consuming. And then just trying to figure out how they have it manufactured and how I can get it as close to that as possible so that I can accurately wear this and it be as close as I can get to actually using the Enigma before I would make the decision to buy one and spend that much money. So that's all it was it just took time, but it's going to take time regardless of what you use. It takes time to figure out what you like. It takes time to figure out what's comfortable. It'll never be completely comfortable, but it's going to be something that you can get used to and you're okay with it there all day long. So that's really all there is to it. And these screws, they are from other holsters. They are from random holsters, random extra screws that came with other random parts. And I just found some that fit appropriately and I made the holes to fit to them. And voila, there she be. So that's basically it on my DIY Enigma. I can show some footage of it on and drawing with it, and I mean it's probably redundant because it's the same as what it would be if you were wearing the Enigma, but it's not the Enigma, so it's probably worth showing anyway. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope that maybe it will give you some ideas on you making your own, even if it's not an Enigma, just realizing that you probably have what you need already, or somebody does that you can either purchase or they're willing to part with because they're not going to use it. And you just need a little bit of imagination and a little bit of ingenuity, and you can figure out anything. Or if you're like me and you just hate to think about spending that much money and not even like what you purchased, and because of that, and because your husband knows that that could be the case, he does not want you to spend that money, so it causes you to use your noggin and figure it out for free. And this one turned out pretty well, so I wanted to share. And if you have any questions or need something more in depth, you can comment below and I'll help you out the best I can. Thanks for watching. Stay shielded and God bless.